Hello. This is my course. It's my course reflection. For the entire course. And I just want to say that, you know, at the beginning, my background for the course really was just kind of non-existent. I come from a not super. I guess educationally diverse area. So what I mean by that is just there's not a lot of educational opportunity for all people. I went to such a small school that you know any I went to such a small school, there was only 90 kids in my graduating class, and so out of that, and we had a special education classroom at our school, and there was probably only about 6 or 8 kids in that special education classroom. But prior to this course, my whole idea of what we do as music teachers, as far as special education, it doesn't really go very deep. But then I took this course, and this whole world of just understanding education really exploded. And so basically I want to talk about some of the things that were really mind-blowing or really impactful on me. And I think the first thing, it wasn't the first thing we learned in the course, but first-person language, and how important that is in the classroom. I grew up on terms like handicap and disabled people, and just how first person knowledge kind of gets rid of any negative connotation towards having an impairment or living with a disability. And that's exactly how it's supposed to sound, instead of saying disabled people, or that autistic kid or autistic student, say person living with disability, and so on. It's basically like that. Instead of saying handicap parking, it's accessible parking. And stuff like that. That was really eye-opening and very helpful, because language like that is going to be really important in the classroom, because it's all about how you communicate with your students. That makes an impact on them, because that's the whole job is communication almost. So after that, learning about IDEA, IEPs, 504s, UDL guidelines, all of that kind of became really useful tools that make me much more confident to go out into the teaching world, to be able to make me feel much more prepared for some of those things that I had no idea about before. And so just talking about the different laws that have been developed through IDEA and the UDL guidelines that can help me make adaptations, and gives me a lot of tools to better include students with impairments. All of that is much less daunting. And I also want to talk about, along with adaptations and modifications that go along with UDL, I've gotten really interested, and I've been looking at a lot of different websites on Google, and some of them that we've been using in class, websites on Google, to try and get ideas just like coming up with like little ideas for lesson plans using these different resources in technology, and how important technology is for music educators, specifically regarding to teaching the exceptional child, as our course name is called. So yeah, and just like being prepared to do that, and like being able to find a genuine interest, and like it's and the technology bit is something that is only going to progress like further and further, and become a bigger and bigger part of the classroom, as like different generations start to come in later years. And so like feeling like I have a bit of a head start going into student teaching and going into the teaching world with these tools and resources makes me really comfortable. So yeah, and I feel like there's some more challenging ones, and this is why I'm really glad that we did the case studies that we did, because there's some challenging topics that still confuse me sometimes, and sometimes I still have a hard time thinking about like, oh, what kind of lesson could I make up for someone with more challenging disabilities that they have to live with. And I know that will come in time, being able to understand that better. But yeah, I believe that is my course reflection. I feel very prepared for student teaching as regards of MUED X goes. Much more confident and much more learned. I needed to learn about this, because honestly, from day one I was like, I have absolutely no idea what we're talking about, and I've never heard of majority of what we talked about in class. And being able to it kind of was really awesome, because there were so many opportunities to like reflect back on like memories from my education, to be able to be like, oh, that was like really good, or like really bad, and now I can like gather information from those memories based off what we learned, and like be able to apply them when I'm a teacher, which is really awesome. So yeah, that's all I got.